Hello and howdy there. Yesterday I saw Lincoln, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I loved it. I'm gonna give it a 9. I think it's living history. It just is kind of hypnotic in a way. I really liked it. I am a big fan of acting. I love acting, and there are some powerhouse performances for some powerhouse actors in this film. I don't know if it can completely outshine the performances I saw in The Master earlier in the year, but there's some great stuff going on here. Lincoln is about the last couple months of Abraham Lincoln's life. The Civil War is still going, but in its death throes. He is trying very, very hard to pass the 13th Amendment, which will abolish slavery for once and all. And it's basically, a film about political procedure. Getting a bill made into law is basically what the film is about. And still manages to be, somewhat thrilling. It's 2 hours. I was afraid that it would be, a little boring because of the historical aspect and the history lesson that you're getting. I did not find that to be the case. It's a 2-hour film. It felt like an hour and a half. It zoomed by pretty quick. It stars the incomparable Daniel Day-Lewis, arguably the greatest living actor. Also stars Sally Field. It stars a lot of people. It's a menagerie of character actors. Okay, we got Sally Field, we got Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That's one of my, beefs with the film, and why I won't give it a higher score than a 9. Just even after the film was over, I was like, why was Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that? That's the only, and you'd have to go to casting. It's just an odd casting. Just because Gordon-Levitt is a rather big star, and he had a smaller role in this, and I didn't get why it had to be Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It seemed like if you're going to get someone of his talent and caliber, that he's going to have a much meatier role, and he didn't. So I just thought that little bit of casting was odd. If anything, I thought it was kind of a shot at, what's his name? Crap. He's in all the Transformer films. He was in the Indiana Jones movie. Oh, I can't think of his name. He came out against Spielberg. He came out against the film, the Indiana Jones film. God, why can't I remember his name? That's so stupid. Anyway, so I think that was kind of like his part, and if Spielberg, was saying, like, well, I don't really, need you in my clan. I can get Joseph Gordon-Levitt. God, what's his name? It's Shia LaBeouf. Thank you. Shia LaBeouf came out against Spielberg in a public interview, and, well, you just don't do that. Though I guess he did have to stand up for his artistic integrity, and Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was kind of a shit film, which is basically what he said in so many words. So anyway, I just thought the Joseph Gordon-Levitt casting was odd. But the rest of the casting was spot on. We also have James Spader, Tim Blake Nelson, and John Hawkes playing a trio of, I don't even know what you would call them. I think there's a technical term for them, but I don't know. I love James Spader. And when I saw James Spader on the screen, I had no idea he was going to be in the film, and I just kind of flipped out. I love James Spader. I wish he worked more. I wish he was still on The Office. I think he's hilarious. Boston Legal is one of my favorite television shows of the past decade. I love James Spader, and I was overjoyed to see him in this film. We have a lot of other character actors. A lot of faces I recognized, but not names that I know. I noticed, one of the guys from Breaking Bad has got a big role in this. A standout character from Men in Black 3 from earlier in the year has a very good role in this. Lee Pace from several television products is in this. Programs, not products. Is in this. He's okay. That's another one of my beasts with the film, is the opposition. The folks who want to keep slavery intact. We never get to see too much motivation, behind them. Why do they fight so hard to keep slavery intact? We know why, we can think why, we can imagine why, but we're never shown that. The bad guys never get really more in depth than making, evil faces and shooting glares. And, it's just, I wish that we understood more of why they want to preserve that way of life, to see their, home life a little bit. But, again, they have to keep this from, being a 4-hour epic, I'm sure. The story goes that when Tony Kushner, the screenwriter and certainly the real star of the show here, wrote the first draft of the screenplay, it was, 500 pages, which rule of thumb in Hollywood is a page of a screenplay is 1 minute. So that's a 500-minute film that Tony Kushner turned in on the first draft. So, to get it down to a 120-minute film, you gotta cut a lot out. So again, I accepted that we couldn't get, because I also think there are, I may be overshooting this number, but something like 180, maybe not that big, maybe it's like 160 or 130, I can't remember specifically, but, 120 plus speaking roles in this film. It's just a huge cast. The one actor I want to talk about is I feel the actor that stole the show, and the actor who is definitely going to get an award for this film, and that's Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones is an established actor. He's been working forever. He's brilliant. I love Tommy Lee Jones. His face can be so stoic, and yet his eyes just, swimming, with passion. And I think this is his best work since No Country for Old Men, easily. I think it's some of his best work ever. He had the best lines of the film. He had the laughs of the film. If you're not going to be Lincoln, you're going to want to be Tommy Lee Jones in this film. His character, I can't remember the name, but he stole the show. He needs a Best Supporting Actor for this award, for this movie. The other actor is obviously, I don't feel I even need to talk about him, is Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis is a next level artist. It doesn't seem fair that, someone should be that talented. He's a, I want to call him a national treasure, but he's not American. I believe he's British. If he's not British, he's Irish. I don't know. He's European, so he's he'll have to settle for being a global treasure, which he is. You could argue with me, but he's got to be, the greatest living actor. He's just amazing, and he's amazing in this role. It's like it's not even him, you know, and I think that's very smart on his part. I think that not only is he a genius artist, but he's very good at playing the show business game. You know, he does a limited amount of interviews and press. I think that keeps Daniel Day-Lewis, the actor, somewhat of a mystery. We're not sure of his own personality. You know, he's very soft-spoken, shy, so we don't really get a glimpse into what he is, you know, truly like when he is not inhabiting someone who he is not. So he easily disappears into his characters, and he is Abraham Lincoln for this film. He's just a marvel, you know. He's just a marvel. I don't know. I mean, obviously he'll be nominated for Best Actor for this. Should he win? Probably. I keep on thinking about his performance even right now. I thought it, you know, it's amazing. All last night I kept on thinking about some of the monologues he delivered. He's just, you know, brilliant. But again, when you have a screenplay as good as Tony Kushner's screenplay is here. Tony Kushner, Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright, wrote Angels in America, brilliant in his own right. The screenplay, you know, again, is about political procedure, and it's somehow exciting and informative and entertaining. You know, it's got everything, and it's all right there on the page. So if it's all right there on the page, the actor's job is minimized to bringing the truth out and bringing that page to life. And if the page is already breathing, then the actor's work, again, is not so, you know, there's not much heavy lifting. And when you have someone of Day-Lewis's caliber, again, you know, one of the greatest living actors, then you're going to have something magical. And you do in this film. I like how Spielberg takes a back seat. This is a Steven Spielberg film. I really like how he takes a back seat. He doesn't really do... And this is a Steven Spielberg production. I recognize many of the names. The score is from John Williams. You know, has Steven Spielberg made a movie without John Williams in forever? I don't think so. Also, Janusz Kaminski is his director of photography, his cinematographer. Has Steven Spielberg made a movie without Janusz Kaminski in a while? I don't think so. So this is definitely a Spielberg production, but there's nothing too flashy about the directing. You know, I think this is more than anything an exercise in editing to get with that, you know, quick pace. I think he focused more on that. If anything, the directing was you know, slightly monotonous, but I think it also goes with the hypnotic quality of it. Pretty much every single scene starts with a overview of the scene and the characters in it. And then as the one central character starts to speak, the camera slowly zooms in or, you know, moves around and then zooms in on the character speaking and remains in the process of zooming in on them, like slowly moving for the duration of the scene. And that's every scene. Like, again, you know, establishing and then focusing and then, you know, tunnel vision. And it was like, again, it had happened over and over and over and over again. There wasn't really, you know, any flashiness going on. I thought that lent, again, to the hypnotic nature of pulling you into this, you know, time that has long been past. I also thought it held true to an old-timey feel, you know, a simplicity in directing, you know, that they didn't have steady cams, and this is, you know, a historical document in a way, and they, to make it anything but slow-moving, stationary cameras, shots, camera work, would be to distract from the point. I think the film is really important because, again, it shows, there's just, America is abundant with idiocy. People are ignorant and intolerant of the government, which is fine, but they have no idea how government works. And, they want to blame, the government, and that it is evil, and that it's all a rigged game, when it's really just humans, monkeys, trying to do their best at making sure all of the monkeys don't kill each other. And again, they're just monkeys, so we're doing our best, and that's not enough for some. They just, I guess they just need to blame someone, basically. So they think, boo, government. You're trying to help, so we obviously have to complain. But we see the behind the curtains, political actions. Hopefully it's somewhat still like this, so things can actually be done. But I think it is important for people to see it, so these, ignoramuses who populate our country will learn something and be able to go, oh, okay, so, it really is hard, to run a government, to run a country. And there is a lot at stake, and there is a lot of pressure. I think it gives you, again, not only a glimpse into the inner mechanics of politics, but into the inner workings of the heart and the soul that a politician must have. On one side, again, the opposition, the guys who want slavery to stay intact, we never get to, see their point of view. And I'm not saying that we should have, but, give them a little bit more depth instead of just being an old man with sideburns who shoots an evil glare at Tommy Lee Jones. So, also, I thought Mary Todd, Sally Field, she had like two big pivotal scenes. She had a fantastic scene in the first half of the film, if you want to call it the first act. She had a terrific scene. She had a terrific scene in the second act, and it didn't seem like in the third act she got to wrap up her character. It just kind of seemed a little bit open-ended. I just thought that there should have been one more powerhouse Sally Field scene. It just seemed that she was kind of left out at the end. I just got that feeling. But really, that's it. Just a little bit more deep character work for the bad guys, and just something more to round out Sally Field's character. And again, just the fact that it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I still, that casting is weird to me. So those are like the only things I can think about this film, this tremendous, terrific film. Everything you see here is amazing. Again, this is a period film in the 1860s. You're there. The costume design, the set design, it's beautiful in its antiquity. All the acting is tremendous, with the highlight being Tommy Lee Jones and Daniel Day-Lewis, of course. The trio of character actors with James Spader, Tim Blake Nelson, and John Hawkes is amazing. Kudos for that trio. I want to see a movie with the three of them, just them, those characters. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of the best of the year. Definitely the best movie Spielberg's made in a while. Perhaps since Munich maybe Catch Me If You Can. But again, it's not a typical Spielberg film. He like, again, if you ask me, Tony Kushner, the screenplay, is the star of the show here. It's all right there on the page. It's beautiful. It's, again, very quotable, and perfectly captures how people talked back then. And then you have all the performances from the powerhouse actors, and then you have Steven Spielberg coming in third, which, you know, I think if you're Steven Spielberg and you're, you know, kind of the father of the modern blockbuster film, I think that shows a lot of, what's the word I want? You know, like respect, respect for the material. And again, I really do think this is an exercise in editing. I don't really understand the editing process at all, or what goes on in that room. But I think that he really wanted to focus on that, and I think it, you know, came through. So I don't know what else to say other than, you know, I thought it was tremendous, and more importantly, I thought it was important. You know, I think this is a film that people need to see, so that they understand what goes on in this country, and you know, spitting vitriol on Facebook, you know, does nothing. You know, is nothing. It's inherently meaningless, and you know, this shows how real change happens and what government is all about. And if anything, it kind of gives America hope, because we're not in the best place right now, especially on the world stage, let alone, I mean, some people even think we're on the verge of another civil war. So I think it's kind of, you know, important that this film came out now. And I think people do need to see it. And I think it is, again, a tremendously entertaining historical document. I don't know how else to put it. Yeah. So that's Lincoln. I give it a solid 9. Definitely one of the best of the year. Thank you very much.